everyone. Welcome to my show. Autumn is here. I am your host, Francine Crawford. And today we are here with Victoria Caputo. She is the program coordinator for the Aging Safely Prevention Coalition under the Family and Children Association. And we're so glad to have her here today. It's very interesting. She's going to give us some insight into what they do and how they assist older adults. So welcome to the show, Victoria.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So glad that you took this time out to share with us what you do as a program coordinator for the Aging Safely Prevention Coalition. So I don't know if many people know about the Aging Safely Prevention Coalition. So tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So we are a prevention coalition specifically for 45 and older adults across both Suffolk and Nassau County. Basically against binge drinking, right? So we know adults are going to consume alcohol. It's when we cross a certain line where, the binging of the alcohol really is harmful to extreme levels. I don't think a lot of people realize the drinking epidemic that is happening here in New York, specifically with Long Island. It's just, our culture is so normalized with drinking. You drink for leisure, you drink for sorrow, you drink to celebrate. It's just human nature, really, to drink. So what we do is we spread awareness and education about the dangers of binge drinking, as well as some environmental change strategies that we are trying to implement for hopeful, better change in people's behaviors towards overconsumption of alcohol.
Is it only alcohol?
Yes. So this coalition is specifically funded by a grant that only touches and deals with alcohol.
Okay. So what are some of the things that you found that, I didn't think about this until I saw one of your flyers and stuff, and then I started thinking about it. I'm like, yes, there should something that we should deal with, because there are so many different things that can put older adults in this position where, you have more time, so you might socialize a little bit more, or, people are passing away, you get sad, or you're lonely, so you end up drinking more. You don't have to get up and go to work, so you have more to drink all night. You know what I'm saying? So it's just the patterns that we had while we were working. Then afterwards, maybe we have, it's something to consider that we might overconsume. So tell us a little bit about some of the things that you may have come across that might be obvious things that people don't know, don't think about, that they don't recognize that people may have this kind of issue.
Sure. So the definition of binge drinking, not many people know how many beverages it is. So for a standard alcoholic beverage for men, it's 5 or more in one sitting, and with women is 4 or more drinks in one sitting. When you're out at a restaurant, usually people get 2 drinks and then, we'll go home. However, for those who go out, live music, there's drink after drink after drink, and that's really where it leads to further problems. Now, specifically with the older population, it increased risks of falling, right? Physical injury, cardiovascular health is, if you have already health issues and certain health conditions, alcohol is not going to help in any way. It really worsens the problem. And not only that, a lot of, older adults are on medications, right? Blood pressure, blood thinners, all types of different medicines that they might be on that they might not even realize, you're not supposed to drink alcohol with these medications. Whether it's, harming the liver even more, right? Or causing the medication to not do its supposed effect, right? So there's definitely things with increased risk with older adults, as well as, increased cancer rates. It mainly shows from the U.S. General Surgeons. This is where I get a lot of my research from, as well as we did a survey across Long Island with a little over 500 people, um, just for their opinions on alcohol and consumption rates and things of that nature. And it's super easy for people who are of legal age to get alcohol. It's a little too easy, actually. Um, According to our survey, out of the 556 people we surveyed, it was 90% across both counties said it was either easy or super easy to obtain alcohol. So really, there's like no stopping anybody who's, of legal age to obtain it. So it really is just being conscious of how much you're drinking, maybe not drinking every single day, right? Some people enjoy a glass of wine with dinner and they'll have one glass a day. Um, that might seem low, but in reality, or there's those who don't drink at all, but they'll go out, Friday night or Saturday night and they'll be, drinking back 6, 7 drinks. It's almost the same level of harm over time. I've had some researchers from the University of Albany send some data over just about drinking habits in general, like as you're a younger adult and what it shows in your later life. So whatever your drinking habits back then leads to obviously, health problems later down the line, including increased cancer risk, and again, heart problems, mental health issues. There's a lot that can happen with it. So,
Okay. What are some of the programs that you do or that you have with them to talk about this and to kind of deal with this situation?
so program wise, I personally don't have a program. I mainly do community outreach.
Okay.
So, educating the public. I'll go to health fairs, senior expos, senior centers, job fairs, pretty much wherever there's going to be older adults that are willing to hear me spiel a bit at my table, is where I tend to go to just publicly educate. However, I do have many referrals and people like basically that are part of my coalition that are willing to assist those who have, struggle with alcohol misuse. So for example, Family and Children's Association has multiple recovery centers. We have something called Thrive, which is a peer advocate-led recovery group. So those who, are on their own sober journey as well, who went through training to then become a peer advocate, now meet those who might be sober curious to those who, want to be and stay sober. And that's just one of the many examples of, I have a lot of people in my coalition, so it's a great way to get the word out as well when, events are happening. If someone needs a referral, I'm able to reach out and see if anyone is able to jump in and assist. So it's a great group to have with, if someone's struggling, you can point them in the right direction.
You're a little partnering together,
Yes.
community. Okay, okay. What are some of, I know your outreach, so you're out in the community, so you get to speak to people.
Yes.
Sometimes people are open, and so, do you know of any like challenges that people tell you about that you know led to this, or that they try and they can't, and like what are some of the challenges that people have, especially older adults that have the freedom to do this, that no one can tell them not to if they don't want to. What are the challenges that they have to get this under control?
So, challenges of like why I think that they overconsume alcohol really is, I mean, the current political climate. A lot of the Hispanic population is very stressed right now with what's going on. Here on Long Island, as you know, we have a pretty large Hispanic population. Um, and alcohol in general in Hispanic populations, my own family included, it's super normal. So political climate leads people to drink. You have those who, if they lose someone close to them, right? Again, older folks tend, their friends, unfortunately, that are reaching the age, they pass away. they drink. It leads to that. They get lonely. Another thing is we have a lot of veterans, right, that are struggling with mental health or are unfortunately not being helped by the government right now. Veteran benefits aren't really happening at the moment due to government shutdown and things of that nature, um, which leads them to drink. And it's sad because it's almost instinctual, because it's like, oh, I'm legal age. Who's gonna stop me? So when I do go and outreach and people tell me their struggles and tell me their stories, I love to refer them to what I think is the best program for them. I like to give them options as well. Um, and I usually have like some type of referral list with me or some type of like business cards that I can give out that I'm like, if you want help, please email me and I can send you to the right direction to get assistance. Um, but yeah, it's so sad how normal it is, and then when it's too past the point of normal, right? Like the overconsumption, or oh, he's just he's fun when he's drunk, right? Like that's always something that people like to say as well. Like, oh, he's so funny when he drinks. Like we're not gonna, no harm, no foul, but in reality it is harmful to themselves. So it's an interesting time with
Yeah. Yeah.
all this data coming forward that alcohol is definitely a lot worse than I think people originally thought.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you, what, as far as like families and communities or people that are around you, like you said, it's normalized. We know that, friends don't have a drink here or there or something like that. Now they're retired, they're going out more often, whatever things are happening. As a family member, a spouse or child or whatever, of an older adult, like what is there to look out for? Like what are there different behaviors to look out for? Are there anything that we should do and can do, to help the situation or to recognize it?
so, just from personal experience, really, when it comes to signs and recognizing certain things, um, as a young person with older folks who might struggle with alcohol, Um, are they carrying around a specific bottle that no one's really allowed to touch, right? Like almost like a crutch in a way. Or is there something that they're keeping in their car, right? A lot of people will keep clear liquids in a water bottle in their car. So before they go into somewhere, they can have a quick drink and then leave said alcohol in the car. Um, even just behaviors of coming home later than normal or going out more often than normal, or really isolating themselves. That's a big factor, I think, if they kind of just shut the world off around them, especially those who are close to you, right? Like family, spouse, children, anything like that. When you get cut off like that, there's always some reason why, right? And I'm not necessarily saying it's alcohol, but it is always something there. So if there's a sudden change, or even a not so sudden change, and you just noticed it over a period of time, like there's just some things to consider, and really like look not necessarily inward, but like look at what he's dealing with or what this person's dealing with in their current job or post retirement or their friend group or anything like that, where you might say, okay, if I was in their shoes, right, I might also pick up a bottle. So it's just kind of just feeling it out, understanding where they're coming from, right? Because it is, at the end of the day, an addiction, right? Um, an addiction is it's a beast. It really is. It's a constant struggle. I've known people who have been sober for, over 25 years. And every day they're like, I wake up and it's still hard. It doesn't necessarily get easier. So, just being aware, I think is the best, just mindfulness in general. So,
Okay. Okay. Wow, it's interesting. I'm trying to think if there's other because you're in Long Island.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm trying to think about if there's any other places that are outside of Long Island in New York, that's doing this like in different boroughs and things like that. Do you know of any?
So there are a few, I want to say maybe a handful of other coalitions across New York State, funded by the same grant, that do work with older adults. I know there's a coalition near the Finger Lakes that works with 50 and over adults. Um, Unfortunately, a lot of prevention work is usually rooted with youth, right? Because you want to like start when they're super young. That way they grow up with these healthy and good habits. Um, I think there's a need for a coalition like mine where you are working with the older adults who maybe didn't get the help that they needed when they were a kid and kind of just grew up and developed these issues later in life. Um, but unfortunately, there's not too many coalitions, I would say, that specifically do work with older adults, but there are a few out there. So,
Well, it's still it's a start and it's a good idea to do that. Once you set it up, I start thinking about so many reasons why they would have to, they would be in this situation. So, it is definitely something that's good to have and maybe it'll grow and just to be aware of, 'cause
mhm.
like you said, we normalize it so much that we don't think twice about, somebody's drinking or something like that. So, we glass over that it, could be something dangerous and maybe at this time. Maybe you could have when you were younger, but as you're older with health issues, medication, stress, you know, may not be a good idea. So this is great. This is great that y'all are doing this. Is there anything else that you would like to say to the audience or tell us about maybe things that we take for granted or maybe things we don't know about that maybe you offer or you talk about? Is there anything else you'd like to let them know?
Um, I guess what I can mention, like what we're pushing to change to try to make better and healthier environments for those adults. Honestly, when it comes to like making a better environment for the 45 and over, it also is for the 21 and over, which is a great, um, you know, it's a great thing that we cover all of the ages. But so some things that the coalition is like working towards is tips training. So tips is like a training for bartenders, restaurant staff, the owners of those establishments, basically to create a healthy and safer drinking environment, where you don't overserve your patrons. You don't serve anybody who's underage, right? There's like a lot of training to prevent these things from happening. So that's just something that we're pushing to mandate across Long Island. So bars and those who serve alcohol would have to be tips trained. It is unfortunately not mandatory in New York State. So that is something we're pushing for. I just became tip certified, so now I am able to train those folks out there. So hoping to get some classes going and be able to train them on behalf. We pay, the coalition pays for those trainings by the state, which is really great because it's a free training, puts you in your league of your own, as well as if you do get into any financial trouble or legal trouble, your fines are less because you are tips trained. So really there's only benefits for this. So we are hoping to get those classes going. Um, Another thing, we have our social marketing campaign that has started a little over a week ago. So if you're, on Long Island Railroad, if you take any of the Nassau or Suffolk County buses, be on the lookout. We have some ads that are out that just talk about health risks with overconsumption of alcohol. So that's a pretty cool thing that we're doing. We plan on having at least 3 more campaigns coming with different ads and social marketing. So looking forward to that, as well as a News 12 ad. So hopefully that will be happening soon. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Um, Another thing that we're trying to do is like referral to treatment. So we have a screening tool that we want to share with professional medical staff. Basically, like during a checkup or physical, right? They would take this screening, then ask them questions about their alcohol use, and their behaviors around alcohol. And if they score, a certain number on that, they would then be considered, alcohol misuse or some type of misuse of alcohol with their behavior. So what do you do from there? Referral to treatment, right? So they would do the screening and then get referred. So right now we are working to create, we already have the questionnaire. It's like an official document that we have. But we're really just trying to partner with more medical staff to administer the expert screening tool. And then the coalition would then provide them a referral list across both Suffolk and Nassau County with all different kinds of resources, such as inpatient, outpatient, the peer advocacy, right? Like anything and everything with no matter what your insurance is, you will have options to get that treatment. So that's another thing that we are working to push here on Long Island. And that, I believe, all the things that we're currently doing. So it's been a busy last year. So definitely be on the lookout for all of those things that are to come. So
Awesome. I used to hear about this is years ago. I heard about sober parties. Do you have
yes.
like that? You do.
So Aging Safely does not host sober parties. However, Thrive, which I did mention previously, is one of our recovery centers. They host many interesting and really cool sober events. Today, they're actually doing roller skating.
Oh,
So they rent out, roller skates. It's free to the community and those Thrive members, right? It's like a sign up list. So if you're interested in doing events, you go, you have people who are around you that are also going through their sober journey. And it's a great time. I've gone to some of the events. They've had like bingo at Cappuccino's, right, which is a cat cafe here on Long Island. They've done like yoga on the beach. They'll do like movie nights. There's so many events that Thrives does that I can't butter them up enough because of how great their work is. But yeah, we do help with Thrive when we can. But unfortunately, Aging Safely specifically does not host any of these sober parties.
okay. Well, it's great. It's great that you partner with
Yes.
people who help and probably lead them to that. So that's really good. That's good. So I'm so glad that you took some time to come and let us know about this. This is something that we should think about. As we're getting older, there's so many different situations that come about that stress us and things like that. We want to make sure people are aware of responsible drinking if they are going to drink responsible drinking, or just don't drink at all. And what helps is also to get around communities and groups and the events and sober parties and stuff like that. That also helps.
Yes.
You realize other people have gone through it and they're not doing it anymore, and you can still have fun. You can still have fun, just as much fun.
Yes.
So Victoria, thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it, and thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Yes, take care.